Jared Sturtz from Wausau, Wisconsin, and I'm 43 years old. I was first exposed to opiates when I was 19. I got into a car accident. Had just experienced bad whiplash and took Vicodin for the first time at that point. And after that, there weren't too many periods where that it wasn't in my system. It was pretty constant from that point on. Well, I was prescribed medication for 2.5 years, and I got cut off just simply because I was at school and I wasn't able to see my doctor. They weren't cutting me off because they thought it was a bad idea that I was on them. It was more that they just hadn't seen me in a while. The whole time that I was on opiates during that period, I never really abused them. I just took them when I needed them. But then when I lost my prescription, when I was in pain, I found them on my own, and I found stronger ones and had more of them. It kind of started to become a problem. I was a functional addict for a long time. I never used to get super high. I just used to get rid of my pain, and then once it became a thing of me getting sick when I didn't take them, then I just used them to not be sick. I realized it was a problem the first night that I woke up in the middle of the night, and I just was in this pain that I had never really experienced. My calves felt like they were gonna explode, and my stomach was uneasy, and I was sweating, hot and cold sweats. I realized that I hadn't taken something before I went to sleep, which I had done for a pretty good period, maybe a month or two. Right then would have been a great time to seek help, but I just went and used and felt better and kept doing that for way too long, probably another 12 years after that point. And during that period, it started to get really hard to find pills. So I switched to using heroin, and I did that for a few years. That's when it really started to slide. Being a functional addict was getting harder and harder. I was spending a lot of money, $120 to $150 a day for at least a year, and that just gets expensive and hard to manage. I had my daughter at the time, and I was living with her mom, and she gave me an alternative: get help or leave. So at that point, I finally talked to my parents about it because I knew that I needed their help if I was going to get treatment or go to treatment. We found A&R. This was in 2017, but it wasn't available in the U.S. When it's all said and done, it probably would have been cheaper to fly out of country and have that treatment done, because the treatment that I went to in Minnesota was $60,000. So probably would have been a lot cheaper, and I would have been where I am now a lot quicker. I'd wanted to try Ibogaine, which is a hallucinogen that you take and you experience a trip, and you go through the trip and back to the point where you were before you started using. That was not something that my parents were okay with. They didn't support that. So, and that also wasn't available in the U.S. So I started looking at other stuff, and I found A&R at that point that said that it reset your opiate receptors. So I thought that sounded good, and then at that point, I realized that you didn't have to go through withdrawal with A&R, and I thought that sounded great, but with it being out of the country, that we chose to do something that was here in the U.S. But like I said, I wish we would have did A&R right from the start. Well, I just did A&R in September. I chose it because when I went to treatment, I started taking Suboxone, and I was on that medication for 6.5 years. And I was I wasn't feeling good on it anymore. Between that and just the fact that it's still an opiate, so like it's still causing your digestive system to, you know, not work, and like I was just tired of that feeling, like just not feeling good, and then just kind of feeling stuck with it. So I wanted to get off of it, and I looked again online and saw that A&R was available in the U.S. I called them that day and came over to my parents' house and talked to them about it, and like a week later I was scheduled to go down. So it was awesome to see that that was an option for us in the U.S. because yeah, like it was, I knew that I didn't want to go through withdrawal from Suboxone. It's not fun. A&R was not like any other doctor's office or, you know, medical facility that I'd been to, just simply because addicts kind of have like a stigma. Doctors just see you as a drug seeker most of the time, even when you're not, you know, trying to get medication. Like once you're flagged or whatever, like it's hard to deal with people in a lot of doctors' offices, like around here and other places. And the people at A&R were just, you know, they weren't like that at all. They were friendly, and I worked with a nurse right away. She got my history, and then I spoke with the doctor for a little while, but I was already like starting to like, they put me on like some sort of a medication to calm me down, and like that medication was starting to work. So like I don't really remember a whole lot after that, and luckily I don't remember anything from the treatment. Being in withdrawal, I think those people probably saw me at my worst. It's also what they do, you know. So I woke up, I like immediately knew that I wasn't sick. I really didn't have a whole lot of interaction with them. Like you know, like during the treatment, like you're asleep the whole time. So the nurses were really kind. Like the continuing care staff that I've been working with, they're fantastic. Like they follow up with you. I didn't have, you know, any withdrawal symptoms. I think that a lot of people don't go to treatment just because they don't want to deal with withdrawal. Like it's just, I don't know. Anyone who's dependent on something, like they just dread that so much. Like you go in and you wake up and like you're better at that point. The first time that I realized I was in withdrawal, I wish I would have just got help right away. Life gets a lot better when you're not like dependent on something. I haven't felt this good in a long time.